to Phoenix.
The trouble is, the frustrating thing about Liquid,
they could make it work.
They can make it work.
Oh, it's
the caliber of players that Liquid have. They make stuff like this work.
Well, let's speak a little bit about how it might function. I think a lot of it is going to be based on the wall on the attacker's side, but Scream currently defending over by Yellow, double doors, not looking to get too aggressive early on. They have a lot of flashes to go for cheeky individual plays, but EDG have taken Nest away very early on.
It's contained though, look. An attempt at maybe to reclear, but it looks like they are aware of this deep mid push. Life is going to evacuate out of there. Quick dash to disengage, but the rest of his team nowhere in sight. At the same time of things, all that horse control being taken at the bottom of the map, that was Nevera. He goes down in the kill feed, you can see it there. He was watching for that A angle, and it's going to be a complete rotation from Liquid.
Scream. It's just absurd. He's got his Sheriff on the pistol round as well.
They're not even getting into this. They're just skipping and hopping, just stuck in a choke point. Where's Life getting kills in the middle of all of this?
He had the lurk. He stayed in the exact same position and cut off Yampy on the rotate. That means that everybody else can try and go back over to B. But they've been spotted. Do they try to go back to A? Who knows?
What's going on here? I mean, mid control gained. Dimas is going to try and cut them off in elbow here, but the spike is still... There's no decision being made. You're going to be dropping the spike here. Long term. Oh, you have to hit the shots, Dimasik.
Oh, that could have been the whole round right there. And meanwhile, they've got double
lurks.
No
way.
Double lurk
Double
plays.
lurks to contain all of this, and now just down to Dimasik. They know where he is. And just taking a fight to the right time, right place for it. Pistol round goes the way of Edward Gaming.
Exactly to plan.
Oh my god.
EDG setting up for a fake B hit. So they're faking the mid to B push so that they can get Life in a lurk position and go back over to A. They get the perfect timing on Nevera to take him out. And value from Life, who got headshot instantly by Soulcast and almost pushed away.
Yeah.
That is a great opening, but EDG, they got the pistol on bind and it went south after round 2. I can't help but put my eyes on where Scream is playing though, but once again he's away from the action to start early.
What a shot from Yampy, man. Okay. He's going to get out 1 for 1. Was traded as well. He didn't manage to just rendezvous away back to safety. The dart's going to be dealt with. But in front of the site, control gained here for Edward Gaming. Should be able to get that spike planted. Gotta be worried about this one though, even still with Liquid. You never know when they'll rip your head off with a Sheriff bullet.
And in fact, Kankan going down means that Screamer's got the flank going here.
Yep. Making his way all the way through into Cave, and timing, again, so important for him. He needs to be able to find these good, clean shots. It was watched, and that's a flick of the wrist. Still, is it going to be that double face? You can see the Gaming players. They want to try and take the fight. How long eventually will man up a little bit. The minerals are there, but again, they're just a lot of damage being dealt, and still, Nevera just trying to save away his life. Dimasik looks to try and take away a couple of guns, but inevitably, another round here for Edward Gaming. Was expensive for them, though.
Yep. A fairly expensive round 2 means not a particularly great bonus for EDG heading into the next. Oh, I mean, I say that, and then Kankan just decides to buy up an op. So, EDG are going to be, it looks like, investing into that one.
Yep.
You can see there, Team Liquid has 1 loss on Breeze in 2022. That was against Mech. Mech long considered to be one of the best teams in the world on this map as well. And that's who Team Liquid beat in that final map of EMEA LCQ to get their spot right here. With Scream dropping 29 kills on Jet, though, not Phoenix. And so, yeah, the buy actually coming out from EDG is expensive and not what Dimasik was expecting.
You just don't expect that. You don't expect that.
You've done so much economic damage to them round 2.
Why would you buy an operator?
Why would they have an operator and a Vandal?
Yampy with a spray down now. He's going to punish that cloud burst. A ton of damage in the mix of things. That's Soulcast again, just trying to lock it down. He's being lit up by that recon dart. A lot of damage being done. Nobody onto 17 health, and still he's just rattling it off one after the other with the help of his team. Just down to nobody. And he is far too weak, surely, to get too much more done.
Spotted out the positioning of Scream there, actually. Dodges the hot hands. The spike, though, is just down at double door here.
Horrible situation and position for it. That's Nevera just taking the fight with a classic.
And they've gifted an op to Nevera. Both Nevera and Yampy are fantastic op players. That one's going to go straight into the hands of Yampy. A kind donation to the Team Liquid economy.
That's one of those decisions that you're going to be looking at potentially snowballing the course of this first half.
And just so many questions here for EDG as to whether or not they even bother investing.
Yeah, it's
Life is one away from getting his Blade Storm up.
Okay.
And so I would have expected them to be playing for that, but they're not at all.
I mean, they've just opted to buy into this one.
Yeah,
he's going to be using his Headhunter bullets.
Yeah, he's got the Headhunter, a couple of kills online, could get the Tour de Force out. They're still going to be dangerous.
It's that same approach that we saw on the initial round. Cloudburster cut across. This time, though, Life is going to be taking space into tunnel. He is in a really dangerous position. He's going to get spammed. One shot does connect. Brought down to 55 health.
It's a huge amount of damage, but honestly, lucky to get away with his life there. No pun intended.
Shots are feeling crispy. Don't want to be on the receiving end of Team Liquid right now.
Navarre saving his wall as well, choosing not to play it at the beginning of the round. Maybe looking to use it for retakes, but you would imagine that the Phoenix flash through the Viper wall would be a key component of how they're defending B, but it just simply isn't. EDG are slowing the game down so much here. There is 40 seconds left. Their spike is committed. This is a fake onto A.
Only one player tagged with the knife. I don't think it's going to be enough to pull players of Team Liquid to rotate. That was the goal of Edward Gaming, but no one's taken bait. In fact, the jumping in Navira knows exactly where they are. He's going to be putting up his own Viper order. He's going to be stopping them in their tracks. How long for Solo? There's 20 seconds left. How long? He went down to the molly, man.
An indecision is killing Edward Gaming right now.
It's being picked apart. At what point do you just call it here? Scream wants to try and take the fight. Why not? Buckets of confidence still wrap around, but there's no time to even get the spike in a position to make it a winnable round.
And this has got to be one of the most bizarre Breeze games I've ever seen.
All over the place.
EDG just can't find an opening, but they're not actually trying to take space until about 40 seconds left.
Yeah, it's odd.
Halls is an area of the map that EDG have not tried to explore whatsoever. And they're also not committing the Viper wall over towards A to deny information effectively. And so they just end up being stuck in these weird situations. Now, Scream going and hunting for those kills towards the end of the round. He has his ultimate online. And EDG are going to take a little time out there, I think. Makes perfect sense from After's POV. The coach from Edward Gaming must be losing his mind at what had gone wrong towards the end of that round.
There's a lot to work on, I think, into these subsequent rounds. I think Edward Gaming will be going down to a half buy, I believe.
Well, who knows, honestly.
Yeah, the economy's kind of all over the place.
The economy really is all over the place. Kankan has his Tour de Force to work with. Life could play for an orb and get Blade Storm online. There is definitely a chance that this next round is guns on both sides as well.
Investment.
Yeah.
Probably what they're discussing right now.
I would imagine so.
Yeah.
But Team Liquid's Phoenix comp has not even been tested yet.
No.
There hasn't even been particularly a single exec into a site, that kind of stuff.
I haven't really seen the elements of it.
But if we're thinking about some of the advantages that Phoenix has, well, you could use your wall to try and fast flank and get past trademarks, similar to the Cloud Burst. But that's not an advantage over the Jet, that's just a different way of doing it. I think once we get onto the attack side, you'll see Scream using his wall to get into sites, especially on B if they just commit Viper Wall on A every time, but that's a whole half away. As of yet, it feels like he's just happy playing anchor positions and allowing EDG to lose.
Yeah, he's got to run it back now.
You want to
It is an aggressive play over towards the orb, making sure that they fight over this one. Yampi.
There goes the Tour de Force.
He's got that line of sight angle locked. Still wants to try and hold this down. 2 flashes, that's all it will take. Hard to dodge that one. There was an attempt here from Life. Players have worked their way into the A site, but again, it is being contained.
A perfect read from Team Liquid as well. Knowing that EDG were likely to play for the ult orb at A, they play it aggressively, and Dimasic's going to finish off the final player from EDG for another extremely clean anti-eco. Edward Gaming are not applying any pressure in these eco rounds at all, but if you can win the gun rounds, maybe that'll be enough.
What an angle. That is a bit of a Phoenix moment. It does allow you to do that, the aggressive push.
Sure.
Onto the orb position.
So does the KO, but
sure.
But yes, it does give them that extra piece to play with.
Bit of aggression.
And Scream has saved the run it back for this round.
Get out of my way.
Does still have it. Ults though, you can see that buy coming through. Life does have the Blade Storm, so he's going to be able to help the rest of his team. That's a Trailblazer being used. Goes down super early.
Scream might look to try and ult in and trap these players in elbow. But actually, no, now his help is removed. Dimasic moving away from that nest position.
I am so confused at this. Edward Gamer, what, is the play really there to try and contact him when you know they have an operator?
Yeah, it's kind of madness. The way in which EDG are using their Viper Wall just allows these A players to chill.
Just get all the way in, and there's an instant trade. I mean, Scream, he offloads the ult, but he's going to be safe and sound. Obviously, returns back. He's got that armor as well on top of it.
Yeah, the Phoenix ult much buffed recently, and Nivera trading out his brother perfectly there.
I am just bewildered, I think, at this approach, because it's so obvious which direction the Edward Gaming players are coming from. What do they have to try and push Yampi off of this angle? I mean, Soulcast is having a field day right now. Players just wandering into his field of vision. 30 seconds remaining. You've got 2 rifles. You board into this one. It has to be a save, right?
It does,
30
yeah.
seconds left.
And this is a flawed game plan or a crumbling IGL performance here from Edward Gaming. That, if we want to talk a bit about how they're approaching the rounds, the Viper Wall that they're running as a default here from Shishu is good for A splits or hole splits into A.
Yeah.
And yet they are
10
not
seconds
A
left.
splitting or hole splitting.
No.
They are going up and taking mid control past their own Viper Wall and then trying to walk onto the A angles before their mid players have done anything. There's a massive problem with the coordination and the understanding of how to distract the site anchors here.
Yeah, it's really quite confusing.
This is not the same Edward Gaming that was playing against Paper Rex. This team looks lost right now.
Just an element missing, and that was a great trade from Nivera, but gotta remember as well, elimination match for both of these teams here. Both of them knocked down. They are playing for their tournament lives. They're playing, essentially to continue their run of 2022.
I'm coming for you, Sabine.
It's the biggest event of the year, champs.
And Edward Gaming have done a great job of getting here to start with. But we've seen 2 teams debuting for the first time here at Champions. One we've already had to send home this morning. EDG are going to be desperate not to suffer the same fate. But it is another very slow start to the round. This time, though, Shishu not committing the Viper Wall early for that mid kind of denial of information.
Yeah. And timing of the drone is going to be giving a bit of false information as well. Nothing's really spotted there.
Meanwhile, a flash out through the Viper's pit. Scream already with none in the round. But they've got good info. It's not a cave.
Hunter's Fury, that is going to latch onto at least one of the players. Yampi tries to take the shot. Life, he wins it out. It is incredibly weathered, I think, in terms of the way he was taking that duel. Not too easy at all. Now the shock darts to try and deny at least something, but that spike is still going to go down, and now you can see that post plant starting to get played now by Edward Gaming.
The fast flank here from Scream and Soulcast could be really good. It's a power position that they find themselves in.
With that.
That's fine. Can gets the kill in the end, but he's not going to expect Scream.
Yeah. That guy's ready and waiting. A couple of shots, that's all it takes right now. They have to be aware of that choke point, but this is a crossfire setup that they've got through here. Scream shouldn't be able to get through easily enough, but that snake bite, it really does stop him in his tracks, and it is still the 2v4. Good flash catches onto Dimasic. His kills are making it look incredibly dangerous, but I think that the way that the spike is ticking, it should still be an easy one for Edward Gaming.
It should be too late, but extremely expensive. Scream seeing if he can grab anything towards the end of that. And just about manages to keep his Vandal and full armor in the round as well. Backed up into a corner. But that's the first time that we've seen real success from Edward Gaming. They faked a little bit of A pressure at the beginning of the round, immediately grouped up on B, and just ran a standard B exec. These are the strats that have just simply been missing from Edward Gaming in the first 6 rounds. And it's looking mighty familiar to Bind, where the pistol round, follow-up, and then not much in the next half. We're past the first quarter at this point. Edward Gaming need to make the adaptations. Perhaps round 7 gives them an idea of how to progress.
That's quite good, because they've been doing a lot of plays like this. It's a lot of utility being dumped in the Trailblazer as well, but look, immediately dealt with. And Yampi, got the tour de force, is perfectly happy to sit there. Safe and sound, teleports now back. As the Seekers come through, it's going to be an attempt on 2 to B side. They're going to be able to get the Viper's Pit, so
this
good
looks
setup
like
here.
A very good setup for EDG. Meanwhile, Can is deep in spawn, looking for that fast flank again. But this time it's not coming. This is a serious test of the post plants.
Yeah. Yep, how are they going to be able to hold against this one? Life's angle is just offset by a smidge, but Soulcast is just running out into the open here.
He went fast before the Phoenix wall could come down.
Yeah.
Big mistake.
Drop to his knees, would there be an opportunity for the res? It is being covered, the spray down. How long just playing close up to the wall. And what a play from the IGL. A flash play into the corner sets his team up once more, and they are evened up.
EDG finding success out of the most basic default B hits so far. And Team Liquid were playing a full retake setup that time and just couldn't quite get the execution on that one. Not quite as practiced perhaps with this Phoenix pick, maybe just a last minute addition. You can see Soulcast there just slightly overstepping the mark, getting knocked down to his feet. But the idea was there from Scream with the wall. And EDG in a flash have tied this up and are actually starting to test things now.
Yeah, maybe the goal for EDG is to try and make it a bit more simple. What an aggressive angle. The play from Yampi pushes straight down. Yeah, but a moment to find that shot into Howdong.
And you have to be fearful when Yampi's playing Chamber. Not something we saw in map 1, but he's been essentially playing Chamber perma ever since the start of LCQ, and he gets on every angle. He could be anywhere.
Drone's going to get cancelled out. Look at all that utility as well. Liquid are really quite measured, I think, in their approach to try and push back this push.
Kankan so close to being delivered a pick.
Yeah, the angle that he's watching, though. That's not ideal, Yampi.
Spike down.
Above the wall there onto yellow, and a flash peek from Soulcast. He knows what a second is. Make it a third. One after the other. The prime game in Flawless. That's going to be secured. Liquid get to build that bank up a little bit more.
A round that demonstrates exactly why Yampi is such a great chamber player and great offer on defense. He's in so many unexpected positions. Finding people who think they're safe, and then Soulcast with a beautiful counterplay to that normal A hit. For EDG, the only thing that has worked are the B execs.
Yeah. I think it's just that there's not particularly well drilled, I think, as well against teams that are going to punish. You know, when you drone, it's going to get cancelled if you don't bait out a utility prior.
Halls for the first time from EDG.
This is new. This time you start to see that Viper wall that was being used earlier. Shishu, that does give them a way into Halls. They haven't actually used it to put it up at any point. Now you're going to see that Klabos over the top. He is revealed.
Great recon.
Yeah, that's fantastic with that dart. Lights him up, Soulcast. This guy is unleashed right now. One after the other, the swings. Just immaculate. And the punishment once more is there. Not going to be let out of Halls, keeping them contained. Team Liquid seem to have getting back control of this half.
Absolutely. Just a single blip there, and Liquid are straight back into it. The recon dart could not have been more perfect from Demasig. It is a bit of luck, just that the pulse happened to hit Life as he was going for his dash. Yeah, if the dash had been half a second earlier or later, maybe Life doesn't get scanned like groceries there as he's just on top of yellow.
The perfect reveal. Now you're in round 11 here. The money obviously not good for Edward Game. Are going to be going to this with the half buy. Is there going to be anything more creative? So far, we haven't seen anything too special. When they do have these sheriffs in their hands, it's usually just looking for picks like it is now.
Toxin screen down.
And this wall in every round is just getting countered by that trademark from Yampi anyway. Spot somebody over towards elbow.
Here's the running. Ooh, the shots.
But not quite there.
It's just too late. Yeah, too late with a swing. There's another attempt to try and take this fight. There's a lot of damage being exchanged. Scream is willing to fight further. Wants to push it through. Knows he's in the corner. Bit of spam though. Does he know he's still there? Okay, flash. Turned away for about a moment. Oh, the kill's now starting to flow in a different direction.
And EDG have control of the B site. This has gathered so many people towards Halls, and they still can't take down Shishu. They've given up B.
Over-eager there to try and take another fight, but he does get good information. He knows that the rest of these Liquid players are working their way into mid, into elbow. Life's gonna, again, contain that. Over the top into the right click.
And finally, a thrifty round converted for Edward Gaming. They've been trying the same kind of thing all series so far.
First one that they managed to obtain.
Yeah, and that's the first one because there was such a distraction here. The dodge on the Phoenix flash. Scream with a bit of a fumble. And there were two other players
One enemy
that decided to come and help out. And it just opened the way for Kankan to find a pick on B and waltz in. And suddenly this half, I mean, this half has just been so dominant for Team Liquid, and yet the scoreline does not reflect that in the slightest.
Yeah, you're potentially looking at 6-6. Depends which way this one goes. Tons of ultimates online for Team Liquid, though. I do want to remind it, but this looks like, yeah, you're seeing the pace once more injected into it. There was no utility to push them back. This time the wall is going to get dropped down there by Nivera 4. This post-plant retake, run it back, going to be activated. Shut down though, Scream not going to be rewarded with any kills.
And no trade. Normally Team Liquid are very good at trading those.
Okay.
But they do catch life on the way out. And Kankan is incredibly weak. Hurt by the shock darts earlier in the round.
How are they playing this round? A lot of the players are just...
It's just post-plant lineups.
Yeah, it's post-plant lineups is the name of the game here for EDG. This could really backfire, honestly. Depends how they play this one. A flash into the corner. And Liquid, just sublime. Taking space, cool, calm and collected. And the late lurk by Shishu's just way too late. You can't rely on a post-plant utility in that fashion.
But again, these are all lessons that you only learn after having that experience at the big stage. And that's what this feels like, a bit of an experience diff here from Team Liquid. The Phoenix, honestly, not having the biggest impact upon the game, but Scream still being able to find his spots, pick his moments, and get a ton of kills.
Yep.
In classic Scream fashion. We'll see what the game plan is for them on the other half, though, because attack is where it will truly be tested.
That is the big question. We'll send it down to the desk to break down what we've seen thus far.
Thank you very much. Guys, let's just talk about the Phoenix, Jess. We didn't expect it. What did you make of it?
I mean, look, there was only few parts of the map I could really see him having a very big effectiveness on, and I was like, okay, what does that look like for Scream? Does he, hold towards those tight corners? Is that something that the Phoenix is prevalent for? Is it a little bit more, we saw him use his hot hands both for healing and for a little bit more proactive aggressiveness. He had a bit of an impact there, but just like the last time we saw him play Phoenix, it wasn't heavy utility, but there was a particular round where he did manage to take that control, but it relies on there being a solo player really there. It relies on no trades being able to be called, and that's what we're talking about. It's those moments there. Yeah. They're a little bit few and far between, so a lot of it does just come down to raw firepower.
It's like Liquid know that EDG are going to go for these splits by going through like cave and then trying to go through doors. So Script is just pushing a particular area. However, I do think that it's pretty good looking for EDG. Life especially, sort of leading the line overall, looking a lot better than he did in that first half of Bind. Now starting to bounce back. He's on an average of like ACS of 247. On defense, it's a little bit lower, but I think that if Life can start building it up, if he can get the up online especially, I don't know how much I like the Phoenix on attack. And I think that Life is the pivotal point to actually shut that down and stop those executes going in.
Mind you, how many flashes on those retakes that EDG have to deal with? Maybe conversely on the attacking side, having the flash drives, having, Kerbal come out. I think that's going to be huge for the side of Team Liquid. I will say retaking it looked good, and retake's kind of just a converse version of attacking. So let's see if that kind of plays into this.
I know you don't like the Phoenix on attack, but the ultis, I want to see how many Scream can farm on this half. Of course, if EDG, they don't win this half, we're going to have to say goodbye to them, Bren. And Sayasho, there's a lot of pressure going to the second half.
And that's a beautiful setup here with this elimination game, because it is a ton of pressure on the shoulders of Edward Gaming. EDG, I mean, they made waves in the East Asia LCQ to get here, but this map, this is what they got to overcome right now, Josh, to just stay in this series and stay in the tournament.
They've already put Chinese Valorant on the map by turning up to Champions and representing East Asia. That is for sure. But they would have wanted so much more out of this appearance if they do end up going home right here. On the pistol, you can see Team Liquid leaning towards B. Scream buying a wall on the pistol round with a frenzy. The wall is so good for this. This is exactly what you expect him to go for.
Stand up though, and the trademark.
The trademark, the trailblazer, everything. For EDG, they need to shut down these pushes in the choke point. That is the counter to playing Phoenix. You need to fight the choke points. They can't dash, engage, and get past you and break your crossfires.
And look at this space that nobody has gained. He's made this play all the way into cave with the deep Viper wall, setting up with his teammate. He's going to be giving him a lot of mid-round information.
They'll be able to hear Dimisic there as well. But not necessarily whether Dimisic has left. And this is going to be a re-hit over towards B. Yampi spotted. So much comes down to this duel, but Yampi decides to evacuate.
Yeah, backs away. Another knife comes through, and round 2 for this hit.
Oh,
to
no.
the B side, playing inside the Viper Orb, though. That's a Frenzy in play. Liquid running up on top, though, with the kills. Here's that 3v3.
30 seconds
Be
left.
able to get themselves into the site. No spike down yet, though. No
Yampi's
plays
been
being
spotted
made.
again. All nobody needs to do is distract here, and he'll get pinched from both sides, but Yampi aware to it again, choosing the non-risky option, conserving his life.
How do they want to take this player out? Just holding close to the wall. It's Yampi who's managed to find these fights, and he's isolated it down to that 1v1. Life still wins it out. Shishu's got to get a move on now. Needs to play with the rest of his team.
So far
Teammate.
away.
He is super far away and so low as well. However,
Hey, how did he get that?
I don't know. Dimisic falls and Life wins the shot anyway. 1 to the head with a ghost. That's all it takes.
What a round from EDG. What a retake. I have no idea how Shishu was able to get the frenzy kill from long range on a full health target, I believe. But take a look at the replay here.
Frenzy, yeah.
This is Life able to eventually take out Yampi, and this one's on Shishu.
What's the frenzy?
What on
is
earth
that?
is that?
I mean,
Dimisic
absolute miracle play.
Dimisic is massively favored there.
Yeah.
But look at the reaction from Edward Gaming. They know they've just won the round that they need. That is 3 out of 4 of the pistol rounds going the way of Edward Gaming.
And I was going to say belief returning to a lot of their faces, but I think the confidence and spirit has been high on the side of Edward Gaming the entire time, even despite the fact the desk was touching on it. They were, compiling all the clips, screaming back and forth between these two teams.
And look at how interesting that is. The orb not being loaded onto screen. You would expect, as Yinsi was talking about on the desk, that the Phoenix would be trying to farm up the alt orbs. Oh, Life getting headshot though by a Sheriff. Has to get out of there pretty quickly.
Got to respect it. Has to back away. That's given a lot of space though now in mid because Nest isn't really being watched down.
They know exactly where Kankan is. Holding the same angle there is begging to be pre-fired. He's stuck around for a while, but eventually drops off.
It's a very measured approach to this half by Liquid. You look at the spike, it is in the middle of nowhere.
It reminds me of some of the EDG eco rounds. Oh, and Scream is so unfortunate not to get that one. Just clipped through a wall.
Damage done. By Porto, it's going to be stopping them in their tracks again. 40 seconds remaining. Options here for Liquid, honestly, especially with the way that they're grouping up. Definitely cut noise and re-hit now that this Viper was going down. Here is the timing they're looking for, but nobody's really clearing the corner. It's a wide swing from Navira. The trade is in play. They need to deal with these players at the back of stairs and the pyramid. Shishu wants to try and take the fight, but it looks like Liquid are barreling through, just brute force at play. Despite the inferior weaponry, they are making it work.
Last player standing.
And Life incredibly weak. Damaged by a shot earlier on.
Remaining.
And Hado's left down to 49 health. This is a round that they should never have lost. And Navira is the one who seals it.
A Team Liquid Thrifty getting themselves in the lead, cementing and maintaining that lead via magic.
Yeah.
I mean, just some classic Team Liquid magic.
But much more purposeful on their half buys, I think, compared to Edward Gaming. An idea was there, just wait for the Viper Wall to come down, put the pressure in.
Yeah, well, they did a lot of damage early on while surviving, which is something that EDG had never been able to do.
Yeah.
But I agree completely. The grouping up and taking of the A site, they were able to trade out and utilize that early damage that they'd done to finish off weak targets. And now the shoe is certainly on the other foot.
What is flash? Beautiful. Rendezvous is in play though, so Kankan is safe. Up close though. Timing being taken, that's just with the classic right click. A 1-for-1. I think Haodong will be happy with that one though, and Kankan's just still in a position to do some significant damage. More than that, still alive.
Down B.
2 bullets.
2 bullets. Sometimes that's all it takes for him. Reclear it round the corner, that Scream just a bit of good movement. Making sure that he finds his way around the side.
The shorty from nobody coming around to clear a trademark out, but he does pick up a Vandal.
Really precarious.
Could that
there.
be the difference maker?
Yeah, a tap at a spike. This is Liquid just trying to force out these fights and make it more favorable. Again, a frenzy from long range.
No way.
Wins out the fight. It is Sogas holding close, but again, look where the spike is. Screamers at the back of the pillar. This time going to be committing to this one, but he's very scared, I think, of being repushed there just through tunnel.
Are we going to see back-to-back Thrifty rounds here? Does Chishu know the dark magic?
Scanning ahead.
It's absurd what he's done with the frenzy.
The accuracy, I mean, that
Here he comes again.
A weapon just sometimes just looks disgusting. A bit of run and gun, the trade. Good face there by Scream, making sure that they don't lose sight of what should have been an easy round.
9-6 now, the advantage for Team Liquid, getting close to some big ultimates, and with some large ones online too. The null command is always going to be huge amounts of value heading into the next. If Soulcast had been dealt with a little earlier, perhaps that could have been possible. If Shishu had been looking the other way, maybe there could have been something going. But at the moment, Team Liquid are muscling their way through. And you've got to expect the null command to be used here.
Deep knife, nice little orb there onto Scream. That puts him online with the ultimate, that's the running back ready.
Could we see Life go for a very fast flank here?
Bit of play, because right now you kind of just have to give up this site. Scream's already so deep. The nature of the ultimate is up to find some space. Yampi was trying to get that lurk into Halls to try and pincer it back, one after the other. Phantom in his hands, Kangan just really doing some solid work here, but it's all about timing once more. Noise has been made. Life, he did reveal himself there, just running across the sand. Scream was aware. Can't quite find the kill, and it's a third in the play. Again for Kangan. Life catching onto Scream.
That's the rarest of Scream whiffs.
This Viper's Pit has to stay up though. It's everything for them, but a bit of run and gun. And the trade online, a 7th round for Edward Gaming.
And what a beautiful round it was for EDG. The null command comes out of Team Liquid, and with Kankan getting turned off, that allows Yampi to go theoretically for this lurk, but Kankan is watching it. And in fact, also not suppressed, not caught by the null command, though they thought he was.
Yeah, so far back.
So Yampi ends up giving away the first kill, and Scream, for whatever reason, isn't actually able to deal with Life on the flank. He had a free kill there.
Yeah.
And Life had time to turn his head around, dash away, and take that one again. Now Team Liquid are the team that have been pushed back down to a half buy. Still dangerous. Scream and Dimisic out with Vandals, but a spread approach.
Always dangerous with the rifles in their hands. But it is slow, it's spread, you know,
They're dangerous with anything.
Yeah.
And a delayed Viper's Pit 10 seconds in from Shishu. Just to give enough time, if it had been a fast B hit, for him not to waste the ultimate.
Life is content just to get a slight jiggle with the movement for information. But it is a lot of space offered up here to Team Liquid. Of course, they're going to be taking it in mid. And it's the two players with the rifles in their hands, and you're starting to see them put to good use. What a way to open it up. Scream with the follow. And now, an attempt to try and take this A site. The Viper's Pit in the choke point does pose a problem, but might be content just to ignore this one. Another fight being taken. And this is just crumbling before their very eyes.
It's another one of these rounds where EDG should absolutely be winning it. And Team Liquid work the map effectively and find picks. EDG with so many holes in their defense. And I just don't see a way for Shishu to be able to get this one.
No. Dimisic should be favored here. You see him? Okay.
View model problem.
Yeah. Just did not quite spot it. The flash around the corner, that is almost impossible to react to. So Scream will clean it up easily enough. Patience was trying to be played there, I suppose, by Howdon, but yeah.
Don't worry, you won't win in the round anyway.
Okay.
But that is diabolical. That's 2 rounds in this second half where EDG should have been favored to win cleanly, and they fumbled the bag.
It's just been up and down, but still Team Liquid have held on to this lead in this map. And this is the only map they really need now.
EDG are taking a timeout, and just before we disappear, look at the economy there.
Yeah.
I think they have to invest. They might be taking a timeout to talk about it. Last time they could have forced bought, they took a timeout, and they decided not to. They're approaching round 18 here, and just for everybody at home, they have Bladestorm, they have the Tour de Force available as well, and then they can get rifles on the other 3 players. I mean, choosing to allow Liquid to go up to 11, I think would be
It's
too
the
much.
backbreaker, I think.
It would
It's
be.
the backbreaker.
It would be. Either way it goes, this next round is going to be pivotal.
Yeah. We haven't seen anything too crazy as well from Liquid on their attack side. It hasn't needed to be.
They've basically got one interesting idea so far with the Phoenix, which is using the wall to be able to get out into the B site.
Yeah.
And it's countered quite easily, I think, by using the Trailblazer, trying to fight close to the choke point, and stopping the Phoenix from actually getting out past the wall. So far, the Phoenix I would argue isn't really the difference maker. The difference maker is how much better Team Liquid have been at being able to take map control and squeeze EDG into uncomfortable positions. Liquid end up taking much better fights that favor them. And as I said, I think it was necessary for EDG to force buy here. They have two big ultimates online. No null command available for Soulcast. This round could decide everything.
A dart in mid means that Life's going to be taking a lot of room. Pushing right up to the pillar. He's got the Blade Storm, but it's that slow spread default on the attack side by Team Liquid. They don't want to give any edge. They don't want to give over any opportunities for duels to be taken.
But crucially this time, there is no possibility for EDG to hold the choke point at B. They've got to play a more passive approach to the B site, which is going to allow Scream in. So this is where the Phoenix should be able to get a very clean entry into the site if they do commit to B.
Well, Howdong has got his Trailblazer all the way through. They have to have a read now that this is surely coming on to B. With the wall dropped up, there are no players really in position other than Shishu. Shishu's got to hold this down, got to anchor it. The knife in play, I believe that does tag as well. So all the Viper utility that would have been stopping them in their tracks is gone down, but there's no attempt by Team Liquid to try and push through this. In fact, now the Hunter's Fury offloaded to try and push back into the corner. Every single shot just offloaded.
That is not where Shishu is playing.
This is so slow.
And everything's on Yampy!
Yeah, you can feel and hear all the footsteps, but it is shut down. Yampy in mid, not able to get that done. Pop flash play around the corner. Soulcast, he is favored. Sets himself up for that kill.
And the flashes have been working. Now it's down to Howdong.
A little bit all over the place. He hears the footsteps though, right in front of him. Spray transfer, one after the other. He's done his job now with 10 seconds remaining. Life's managed to work his way across as well.
Down A.
There is time, but not anymore.
That plan is not going to be able to be secured.
Yeah.
It is the round for EDG.
That was scrappy, I think, from Team Liquid. I'm thinking back at that round, Josh.
But again, it's the problem was with the Phoenix, Brent. I said to you that there weren't enough people there to stop the Phoenix engage, but actually one is all it took. I was incorrect there in saying that Scream would be able to get into the site easily. Shishu just put up his poison orb, threw down a snake bite, and that was it. Scream couldn't actually push into the site, and Shishu bought all of the time for the rotates.
Even using a Hunter's Fury. They didn't really take too much space off of it.
They couldn't take space, and that is where the jet would be so beneficial.
You think about a jet in that scenario.
Just a quick dash engage, you get over the top of all of the Viper utility, and you make space for your team. But now, Scream is going to make space for his team with the ultimate.
This is what you're starting to see in play, but no, it's been watched for.
And nobody can follow him either because they're defending the choke point. I love this adaptation from EDG. They are punishing the Phoenix pick here.
A lot of utility again exchange. You can see the shock darts to try and punish the damage that was done onto Life prior, but it's Liquid who have to go back to the drawing board in this round. Still a minute left, plenty of time.
It's a minute though, where nobody still has his Hunter's Fury online. And that Silver ultimate could be devastating. If Team Liquid let the clock drop down too low, it's amazing for denying plants or stopping site hits from coming through. Here comes the re-hit.
Yeah. They've still got the Viper Orb, they've still got the weaponry, and that's a spray down of a lifetime. 3 in a round, and of course you're going to be watching the flanks. You know that late lurk is coming. Edward Gaming slowly crawling their way back to an even scoreline.
EDG finding the adaptations, making it work. And what a spray down from Life as well. We saw one in the prior round from Howdong. And this is looking a lot better for Life compared to map 1.
Absolutely.
Life's debut map. Life's debut map, bottom of the scoreboard. Life's second map, top of the scoreboard.
Turn around.
The devs were asking questions, and I feel like Life is really... At this point, Team Liquid and Emil need to abandon the execs. The B execs with the Phoenix it's a cute idea, but it's not working right now. EDG have got the read. However, what has been working for Liquid is playing the map, going and trying some A splits, take horse control, or specifically, what has worked really well is taking double doors control and trying to split A like that.
They've been able to find so many weaknesses in the defensive protocol of Edward Gaming, just by taking that space.
So now the question is, are they going to attempt that? We're starting here on an eco round for Team Liquid. EDG, they are favored to tie this one up at 10-10, but the last couple of times EDG have had an anti-eco, it's not gone well. That's a great start taking out Yampi.
Yeah, if there was a player to do it, Yampi would have been one of them on the chamber. Curious, you can see fights. Oh, Life wants to take the fight. Gotta have confidence, I think, when you're playing on the global stage. Elimination, just swinging out, free-spirited gameplay.
The tag there. Thankfully has a big old concrete pillar to hide behind. And Nevera's the player with the Vandal. Oh, and he was looking to try and get a lurk timing in behind his Viper wall, but he ends up getting picked off. And that entire lurk was stopped by nobody's recon dart. Great utility usage out there.
Enemy remaining.
And Life's starting to get the confidence flowing now, isn't he?
Yeah, certainly. Give Scream a freebie though, but instant answer back. 10-10 being the scoreline. Whatever that timeout was that Liquid ended up taking, it's all going to be notable here now when they've got the money to get that full purchase, the guns online.
What a recovery.
Has been really good from EDG.
The last 3 rounds been masterfully played, but I think after that Liquid timeout, Emil has certainly given them a plan for this round. What do Team Liquid go for? You can see them on the minimap stacked up towards B. Those hits have not been working. Is this a B fake, aiming to go somewhere else?
They do have the no command in their back pocket. Would increase the likelihood of it doing well, but what a timing to take with Life.
Exactly as Scream was getting to the corner, trying to pull out his flash.
And it's so important to make sure you take just the right timing with that. Quirky enough that you catch players with the utility in their hands.
A little later, and you've got a flash straight into your eyes. Oh, nobody just about escaping there.
And this is a buy round that is absolutely crumbling before the eyes of Team Liquid. Vera and Yampi, last 2 players left standing.
And remember that stat that Ryan showed you at the beginning of this match? When Scream dies early on, only a 30% chance of victory. And I think the entire game plan fell to pieces there for Liquid. They took a timeout for this round, this economic swing round right here, and we didn't even get to see what the plan was.
Yeah, it's fell to pieces. With 35 seconds left, there is no information gathering utility really that nobody has here to find out if they are in cave, but they've got their suspicions.
They certainly do, especially as Haldong just runs around the rest of the map.
And surely this isn't the percentage play. Limited weaponry, Yampi wants to contact in, nobody! It's just tucked. Perfect with it, sprays them down.
Little 2K spray down going on. We've seen a bunch of those with the Vandal on this map so far. And this is a devastating position for Team Liquid to be in. That's rough as well, you know, the Viper Poison Orb missing there from Nevera, offering nobody one of those kills in the round and an escape. But think about Liquid's positioning right here. They don't have enough money to commit to this. They have to let EDG get to 12 and try and play for overtime. Their only hope is a young man called Scream.
He's got that hero rifle. No armor, by the way. 1 away from his ultimate, though.
And they also haven't been loading ult orbs onto Scream this match, particularly.
Yeah, he has to get this orb. This could be the opening that they need. He's got it online. It should be an easy read, honestly. All you got to do is hold tab, look at the scoreboard, and you can see that Scream has been playing for that orb, and he's got it online now.
Yeah, and the rotate is already starting to come through. They should know that this is likely. As the Viper wall comes down as well, can Scream be the hero that Team Liquid need?
No, EDG doing a good job of it. They put their own Viper wall up. Gonna start the fade down now, and that is going to be the go button for Scream. Wants to push forwards right in between pyramids, making waves on the map. He will eventually be dealt with, though, and it's a great timing on top of it. Yampi uses the chaos of the situation, the chaos of the ultimate, to take a great fight.
Whoa, got a
and
shot!
Shut down Can.
Insane 1-2 play from Scream and Yampi. And they've got EDG sweating right now.
Yeah, this should have been an easy one for them.
How many times have we said that? What is this, the third anti-eco that EDG are about to lose?
One enemy remaining.
Again, Yampy just knows the right timings to take. Adam's too distracted, and there's your thrifty win. Team Liquid looking like they're on the cusp of potentially having to play for OT, but no.
Put your faith in Scream and Yampy. What an ult from Scream. Look at this flick. Perfectly onto Shishu. And then as nobody scrambled to try and get the trade and shut down the ultimate, Yampy's there, and what a shot that one was.
It was really good by Yampy.
Absolutely perfect with the headhunter.
Lovely timing to take. Yeah, just really capitalizing off the chaos of the situation. Team Liquid's so dangerous on it, but now they've bought themselves that lifeline with the guns. Even footing, theoretically, in the round.
And EDG. This would be a heartbreaking way for the story to end.
Giving up the B site.
But how are Team Liquid going to get that read?
Oh, flash around the corner here. Yep, no command trying to split their way through. Howdong though, he takes a good angle. In fact, he just pre-fires it, still running their way down, but it's life. He's still locking it down. No one cleared him out in the bottom of mid at that pillar. Nobody with a swing, and this fight has just gone all skew with.
Nobody gives away his life, though. Nobody gives away his life early on. And Howdong worried that there could be somebody over towards B.
Spike is in a dire position. Yampy has managed to gain a lot of space now. He's sitting and making his way at double doors. Make sure he can try and hold for his teammates back, but what can he really do? So difficult. Have to push through there.
50 health.
There's the leg shot. Okay.
1 bullet left in the operator. 5 left in the headhunter. Does he go for it? The madman.
Wants to take the timing. Snake Pipe vulnerable up. But it's EDG who are doubled up.
They're almost lined up.
Yeah, there are no risks really willing to be taken, including the Seekers being used just for the information. And time is running so low here at this point. The players could just survive from EDG. They'd have enough time. But if they go down to the double spray through, Yampy could just seal the deal and secure the round, but no, safe hands at the end of the day. Safe hands. And that's going to be bringing EDG to map point.
Match point.
The heartbeats on the EDG players must have been through the roof. That was everything for them right there. And what an incredible defensive setup to break exactly what Team Liquid went for. A couple of players in mid, 1 nest, 1 tunnel. They abandoned B completely and focused on crunching in mid. And it was exactly what they needed to ambush Team Liquid.
And Liquid, I mean, the gamble they took there.
Regulation, EDG at map point. They were able to take a map dominantly away from Paper Rex.
Yep.
But this has been a real slugfest, a struggle here.
It's so labored a lot of rounds.
Yeah. Even the ones where EDG should win.
Yeah. At a timeout. That's going to be dissipating. Liquid, their last chance to try and bring themselves to OT in this round.
And if they don't manage this, we're going to be heading to Icebox, where EDG demolished Paper Rex.
They look good there.
Both teams have looked good there recently. Team Liquid would love to close it out here, though.
See a bit of a lineup Larry moment occurring.
You want to play?
This one
Let's
going.
play.
Wow, lineup disrupted, I think.
This is the bounce lineup that allows for an exec into B, and nobody's seen it. You should have some idea that they're going to be pushing, but this may well be a fake. The drone not being used at the same time as the recon should give this away to EDG. There is no commitment off the back of this.
This is where the tension lies. There's a wall to try and split them away across. Team Liquid putting everything into this now. It's going to be that B split, but a Hunter's Fury cuts his way, and Kangang finds the opening, and a rifle at his feet still. Liquid will not be denied this space. Making their way onto that B site, the spike will start to go down.
Yampy's got such a great angle here. He drops off it though for a moment, and that allows life out.
Get themselves into this post plant, and yeah, Yampi could be everything. All comes down to who can get damage done. The Hunter's Fury. This one from Dimisic. Any targets being found? Not quite. Can't clear it.
Scream is so weak using the operator here.
Anti-flash position, but he's got the angle anyway, and Yampi returns once more. And Team Liquid bring it to that OT.
The players are popping off down there. They're so hyped to have not lost that round. It's the B split for the first time. Liquid have not gone for this one at all. And Yampi and Scream both with operators that one of them picked up off a body.
Yeah.
Listen to that Yampi pop off towards the end.
The players have been vocal. They are hyped. Nebra Gaming fighting tooth and nail to not go home early. Team Liquid, I think, definitely heat and pressure being applied to them over the course of this map. They'd love to just end it right here, right now. Take the series in 2.
3, 4 players for Team Liquid over towards B as Scream makes his moves over at elbow. Life with the
what
jiggle.
an opening. What a shot to find. One after the other. Still wants to take the fight. Howdo not wasting any time though in the mix.
It's a decent response, but Nevera got a spam through the
Spray
smoke.
down.
Another spam through the smoke.
And the players, oh, Team Liquid, all in their sights. They know that Howdo was locked down there. It's down to Kang Hang, and it's just an impossibility. What a rapid round for them. First 10 seconds, you're finding the impact, and Liquid find themselves on map point, on match point.
1 round away from Edward Gaming's story ending almost as soon as it began. EDG have shown us some awesome stuff, but do they have the grit to power back through OT here? Both teams look pretty good on their defense side, but Team Liquid found a strategy that worked. The splits into the site. Their double doors A splits were working.
Yeah.
The split through mid to B was also pretty effective.
You muster that confidence to go one step further now.
Trailblazer used instantly at the round. It looked like nobody was going to commit his drone as well. But that would have been every piece of defensive utility, or rather informational utility.
Yampi's lurking through halls again, and it's going to be that A split. This has been working for them. Flash to force the rendezvous back. Kang Hang's at the back here of yellow. He's in a dangerous situation, and look at that, nobody with the rotation. He's gone down. Another fight wants to be taken, but Scream will eventually meet his maker.
Yampi is so patient right now. He hasn't opened the door to help the rest of his team here whatsoever. He's waiting for a retaker that isn't coming.
He wants to play off the chaos that might be about to be injected into the round here, because this is everything now with the door opening up. Has to be eyes on it. Liquid do it! In a rapid fashion, a blink of an eye, it's over before you know it, and Edward Gaming are going to be sent home. They made way